Hey, how's it going?
Hello. I have an original Lincoln Parlor card. That is the basis of the Lincoln penny.
That's pretty amazing, the ones that he signed. I've only heard stories of these existing. This is the Brady's one.
Matthew Brady. He did the image for the $5 bill and the cent, and this is the basis of the Lincoln penny.
By the way, he's not on the penny, he's on the cent. We don't have pennies. Pennies are in England. We have cents.
Huh. That makes sense.
Cents, yeah.
I'm at the pawn shop today to sell my Lincoln Parlor card. So I'm a collector of Lincoln memorabilia, and I saw this card at an estate sale about 15 years ago, and I don't think they knew what they were selling. If I sell the card, I'm going to reinvest in my Lincoln collection.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'm just a little shocked at seeing it. This is one of those, like, Holy Grail Lincoln things. Parlor cards were sort of a new thing. They sort of came out in the 1860s. Back then, it was a really cool thing to have a photograph in your house because photographs were expensive, really new high-tech things. Eventually, it became really popular to get, like, you know, the president, maybe a famous writer or something like that. You get their parlor cards, and you would literally put them in your parlor in a glass case, and it showed you were sophisticated. It was a big deal. This guy Brady made some parlor cards, actually had Lincoln sign them. And so this is actually the image that is on the cent in your pocket. The Lincoln cent came out in 1909, and right around that time period, Lincoln had elevated to the status of greatest American the world has ever seen. That's when they started designing a memorial for him. Also around that time period, Teddy Roosevelt, he really hated the way our coins looked. Our cent was the Indian cent. He just told the Department of Bureau of Engraving, let's get something a little better. And that's when all of our coinage changed. And there for a while, we had Lincoln and then a bunch of beautiful women on our coins. Like I said, I'm still in shock that you brought this in here. I didn't know one existed in private hands.
I'm not aware there's another one.
If this is truly the only Lincoln card out there, it's going to be worth a lot of money. And being the history nerd that I am, this is one collectible I almost have to have. And you want to sell it?
I do.
How much you want for it?
I know you've got to make some money on it. This is the only one left, so I think a fair price is $100,000.
That's a lot of sense.
And I did have it authenticated a number of years ago.
Well, you got it done from PSA, which makes it legit and everything. So I know it's real. The thing is, I've never seen one. I know they're uber, uber rare. Let me get someone in here who'll have a better idea what its value.
Right.
Okay? I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'm just in shock. So here is, like, the Holy Grail.
Wow, that's really an astounding piece.
So did he sign a bunch of these, or? I mean, did he have just, like, a stack in his desk and say, here you go, or, like?
No, photography was not an easy process. It's not like today where you can just run off photographs and any senator or president can sign them easily. Mid-19th century photographs are generally pretty uncommon. I'm not sure I know of any of his predecessor, James Buchanan. There were a couple engravings of John Quincy Adams that he signed. They're pretty rare. They're only a handful in existence. I mean, really, if you're collecting presidential signed photographs, this is the top of the pyramid.
I've never actually seen one before.
They are out there. They are rare, though, and they're often heavily forged, shall we say. So this Lincoln Parlor card could be special for two reasons. One, it was taken by Matthew Brady, who was the most famous American photographer of the time. And two, was later used to create the image of Lincoln on the penny. So I brought in some examples of authentic Lincoln signatures here. So one thing I look for authenticity is the angle of the O. He usually makes it not as a perfect circle, but as an oval, and he usually slants it about 45 degrees upwards. So if you look here, there's a 45-degree angle. And then if we come over here, you can see it's not a perfect circle. It's sort of an oval, and you can sort of see the lower point and top point make that 45-degree angle. So, Rick, I do believe it is genuinely signed by our 16th president himself.
Okay. So the big question, what's it worth?
In a high-end retail gallery setting, you could probably put a price of $150,000.
It's worth even more than I thought it was.
Okay, thanks.
Sure. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
If you're a collector of presidential items, having a signed photograph of Abraham Lincoln really is the ultimate. It's a great piece of Americana. It's the top of the collecting pyramid.
Okay, so I mean, like, what's your best price on it?
I told you $100,000, but you could make money even if you gave me 120.
I'll make this really, really simple for you. I'll give you 100 grand. I won't go a penny more. That's what I'll go. 100 grand.
I think 110 is a fair price.
I am comfortable at $100,000, and that's it.
We got a deal.
Sweet. Go right over there. We'll do some paperwork, and I'll get you paid.
Great.
And then you can pay the IRS. We look similar, don't we? Yeah. I could be president.
What is it that you have?
I have a campaign token from Abraham Lincoln
Okay.
that I'm interested in selling.
That looks pretty cool, actually. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
I can't hear you. I'm sorry. It's really cool.
Rocco, I really want to see this guy's Abraham Lincoln presidential coin. Would I be able to let him in?
Yeah, let's get a better look at that. Let him in.
Okay, we'll let you in. It's not really our policy to let people in the store at night, but Rick loves Abraham Lincoln. I want to impress the boss, so I figure I'll take a chance on this guy. You don't have a gun, do you?
No.
All right, come in.
Came down to the pawn shop tonight to sell my 1864 Abraham Lincoln campaign token. I figured it doesn't fit in my collection, so if I can get the money, I can use the money.
So tell me a little bit about this.
This is an 1864 Abraham Lincoln campaign token. It would be given out on the back of a train when he was campaigning for presidency.
Oh, wow.
I did get pointed to the biggest token dealer in the Northeast. He actually showed me the book, and he gave me the number so I could refer to it. So it actually has a place in a book.
Okay.
So I know it's legit, and I know that it's hard to find. You know, I have seen pictures of them, but can't find a price. So I'm sure it's worth quite a bit of money.
Okay. Well, you must have some figure in your head of what you want to get for this.
I'm thinking about $1,500.
That is definitely not a decision I'm going to be able to make by myself. Rocco,
Yeah.
do you know anything about these coins? I have no idea what this thing is worth. I can't just take this guy's word for it.
It's pretty worn. It's really hard to make out. Well, I've seen similar coins, but I haven't seen this one before.
All right. I think I'm going to have to call Rick in. I've been working here for a few months now, and I still get nervous calling Rick in the middle of the night. I don't know enough about it, and I know how much he loves any Lincoln memorabilia. He'd be really upset if I let this walk out the door.
Yeah, good luck.
Do you have a few minutes to wait?
Absolutely. I really hope our boss knows more about this than she does, because I don't want it to be a waste of my time.
I'm sorry I had to call you in.
Being the boss does have its perks, but it's also got its downside, like being woken up in the middle of the night. I hope she doesn't make a habit of this. What do you got?
I have an 1864 Abraham Lincoln campaign token.
So did you have anybody look at it, or?
Actually, I had a real big token dealer. He told me it was extremely rare.
Okay. This was a popular thing. Remember, it's 1864. You know, the only advertising you really have is maybe some signs in the newspapers.
Yeah.
But when he comes through town, he hands these out, and he's got everybody, you know, guy says, look what the president gave me. And just think, Lincoln could have held this himself. Pretty cool.
Oh, wow. So how do you come up with a value on a token like this?
When it comes to coins, there's a lot of things that determine the value. You know, it's rarity, desirability, and the condition of it. The condition is everything. There's a grading system for coins and tokens. This is pretty much towards the bottom. 90% of the detail's gone. How much were you looking to get out of it?
Well, I've already had offers, and being honest with you, and not trying to wheel and deal. I'm thinking about $1,500.
I mean, I've seen tokens like this go for up to a couple $1,000s, but those are ones in really great shape. I've never seen one in this condition go for that kind of money.
Have you ever seen one?
They're all rare. It all comes down to basic economics, supply and demand. Okay, it's not in great shape, so you're not going to get as much money for it. Something like that probably sell for like $400. That's what I'd get out of it. I'd go like $300 on it.
What about just the historical value?
I mean, in that shape, you know, I'd go like $300 on it. That's what I could go.
I can't do that.
Okay, I mean, if you have someone who'll pay more than that, go for it, but that's what I can do.
Okay, I would respectfully decline.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Since I'm supposed to be here in a few hours anyway, there's no point in leaving. Want some coffee?
Yeah, please, thank you.
Hi, guys.
Hey, it's you again.
What do we got? I have a John Wilkes Booth wanted poster after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater.
This is a really, really important part of American history.
I came to the pawn shop today to sell my John Wilkes Booth wanted poster. A pristine poster of this type is worth around $100,000. My poster is not quite pristine, so I'm hoping to get maybe a third of that, and I want to use the money to buy more documents.
So where did you get this?
Well, I bought this from a collector in Illinois. There's only about 30 or 40 of these in existence.
There wasn't a lot of posters put out because by the time they started printing posters, he was already caught.
Yeah, this was printed April 20th, and he was killed on April 26th.
The manhunt for John Wilkes Booth is one of the most intense chapters in American history. And original wanted posters are extremely rare and worth a ton of money.
Lincoln, he had like a Union troop with him, right?
He had a private policeman, and he went down to take a better seat in the theater to see the play.
Okay, yeah. Lacked security, and he just walked right up to the booth and shot him, right? Walked right in it.
Yeah, I know John Wilkes Booth was one of the most famous actors in America, and he was even rated like the handsomest man in America or something like
Yeah,
that.
and the most photographed man at one time.
Everyone knows the story from history class. John Wilkes Booth shot Abraham Lincoln at Ford's Theater, then jumped down to the stage and escaped. It was just a massive shock to the country.
Booth was hoping to totally destroy the U.S. government. He also planned to have the Secretary of State and the Vice President assassinated. He thought that he was going to be a hero if he made it to Virginia.
Let the stain of innocent blood be removed from the land by the arrest and punishment of the murderers. They weren't suspected.
Yes, and this was the largest manhunt in American history.
Wouldn't surprise me. Lincoln's arguably the greatest president we've ever had. He was the first president ever to be assassinated. If Lincoln stayed alive, things would have been a lot different. We wouldn't have had Andrew Johnson, one of the worst presidents in American history.
Very true.
So as far as the poster goes, they're really rare. They're worth a lot of money. This one's in pretty rough shape.
An original John Wilkes Booth wanted poster would be extremely valuable in any condition. But when it comes to putting a price on something like this, condition always matters.
And how much do you want for it?
Pristine broadsides go for about $100,000. This obviously isn't pristine. If you could give me 1/3 of that, I'd be happy, you know? When I pulled it out, I noticed the check was a perfect match. To be sitting on there so long, it just proves to me that it has the age to be original.
It does look old, but my big problem is I don't know if it's legit. You know, I'm not gonna put out money until I know.
This is amazing. Head and shoulders above anything ever to come in my shop. But I have to be cautious. There is a ton of fakes out there. It's not like fakes have been around for 10 years. Fakes have always been around. So how do I know that some guy in the 1800s didn't fake this?
I'm gonna go give my buddy a call. This guy knows everything there is to know about things like this. Let me get him down here. We'll get this thing figured out.
Okay.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Thanks, man.
If this is real, this is amazing. It should be in a museum, but it's not. It's in my shop, and I'm gonna do everything I can to get it.
Hey, Dana.
Good to see you. Wow. I'm president of Early American History Auctions. I'm an expert in Civil War, autographs, documents, and all the like. Well, that's an important item. I happen to have a very good client who owns an original, and I brought it with me so we could do a comparison side by side.
So you have one that's proven to be real.
It is absolutely genuine.
Okay, let's see it. Holy cow.
This is the
That's
real
cool.
deal. These are absolutely some of the most iconic documents in American history. Different printers had different styles. This particular type, there's only 4 known to exist. At that time, the $100,000 reward was the highest amount ever issued in the history of America.
So what's this one worth?
About a decade ago, one brought approximately $80,000, and that was not in as good condition. This is one of the best of all the existing examples. John Wilkes Booth was actually a fanatic who thought that he had been given a mission from God to assassinate Abraham Lincoln because the slaves that had been emancipated were now going to be given the vote as well. So, Rick, what are your concerns about this document?
I just want to make sure it's the real deal. I know there was tons of them that were faked.
Well, it looks kind of odd because of the color and the way it's wrinkled and all, but it could be just very aged, so it needs a little bit closer examination. This is very interesting. The paper is a very old, early paper.
Okay.
You know, it's not something that was made the other day. Most of them were right about this size because they wanted it to be very, very visible. This would be kind of difficult to read. Obviously, the print here is substantially larger than the small print here. I have an idea of exactly what we have here. I think we have an early reproduction. It's not a modern piece at all. Could have been for the 50th anniversary of the murder of Abraham Lincoln.
So what do you think it's worth?
It's probably worth under $100.
Okay.
As it turned out, it just happened to be an authentic souvenir reproduction that was made a long time ago.
It's kind of depressing. I was hoping to have a little cash on this.
Well, thanks for bringing it in.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, man.
Thanks.
I'm really bummed that the poster turned out to be a fake. But with failure comes opportunity. And now that I got a real one in my sights, I'm just hoping we can make a deal.
Sorry that didn't work out for you, but we'll see you later.
Well, why don't you hang out for a little bit? So, what do you want for this thing?
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. I can't begin to tell you how much I want this thing. It would look great on my wall. This is exactly the type of item that gets people talking about the store and heads in the door.
Well, I thought we were just comparing it.
Okay, I'm just wondering, you know, how much you want for it?
I believe that my client would allow me to let it go for $180,000.
You think he would take 100 grand for it?
I think it's worth more. I would advise him not to take that.
Okay, maybe 120?
That won't work right here, right now.
So what will work right now?
I'll tell you what, $160,000, write a check, we're done.
Okay, 125. Call up your buddy, see if he'll take it.
I can't do that for you. I know you need to make a profit. This would look incredible in your store. However, 150 is it.
I'll see you next time you're in the store.
That's fine.
Okay.
When Rick offered to buy my client's authentic broadside, I was just blown away. I had no idea he was going to do that, and it was really fantastic that he had the interest, but we just couldn't get there.
You can't blame me for trying, right?
Not at all, not for a moment.
Okay, have a good one.
Take care.
I can't win today. The first one turned out to be fake, and the real one, I can't make a deal on. But it was really awesome to be able to see it in person. Like most people, I've only seen pictures of it in books. Hey, what's up?
I got something pretty incredible for you. I believe it's an original 1864 campaign poster from Abe Lincoln and Andrew Johnson.
Wow, that is cool. Abe Lincoln, really, really neat guy. In '64, he changed vice presidents. His other vice president was... Just goes to show that no one ever remembers the name of vice president.
You're right. It's something you don't see too often because of its age. So I got really excited to bring it into the pawn shop. Lincoln is a very popular president, so I'm hoping to sell it today.
That's really, really cool. I mean, there's certain things you have to give Abraham Lincoln. You know, normally a country in the middle of a war is not going to have an election.
Right, and that's
okay?
right.
But he allowed it anyway.
Yep.
It wouldn't have been surprising if he said we're going to delay the election until after the war. I mean, I like these old posters. They have the whole static pose. You know what I mean?
Right.
Always got to have Columbia sitting around somewhere. That's basically Lady Liberty. Have the Federal Eagle. You know, have someone plowing their fields. A good American working hard.
Right, right.
I just like this stuff. Now today they just say change. I really love old campaign posters because they weren't meant to be lasting works of art. It's pretty cool to think this is how Lincoln wanted people to see him during his campaign. Where did you find this?
I found it at a garage sale. I was just driving home one day and thought I'd take a look, and found it and was really stoked about it. I wish I had some paperwork or documents to prove it's real, but you know, I think it is, just how the age of the paper and whatnot, so.
The thing was, most of these things were just thrown away. Okay?
Wow.
These were hung up in different places. It's just like today. I mean, no one's going to keep a campaign poster around. It's meant to be temporary. Lincoln stuff was kept a lot more often just due to the fact that it was Lincoln. He was assassinated. He was really revered. So more of Lincoln things survived. But the good thing going for you is Lincoln stuff is a lot more collectible than, say, Fillmore. This is a cool piece. Now, I can tell it's pretty old. I mean,
Yeah, okay.
usually these things are really, really vibrant. Okay, I really don't like the colors.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, these curtains are supposed to be red.
Okay.
They're barely pink. Okay, these banners right here are supposed to be yellow. They're barely yellow. But the green is pretty good, I imagine. You know what I mean? I mean, we have a bad problem with the colors. We have water stains on it. There's a lot of problems with this.
Yeah, I hear you on the damage, but you know, it's a big part of history, so there's still something there, I think, if it turns out what it is, yeah.
I mean, it was a big part of history. He's probably the most iconic president. I mean, maybe George Washington, or it's either George Washington or it's Abraham Lincoln.
Very true.
Fading colors aside, this is pretty damn cool. If this thing's legit, it would be a great buy, because this is the kind of thing that makes my shop so different from all the rest.
How much do you want for it?
I'm asking $1,000.
All right, we'll talk about that, but we're talking probably the most popular president for years and years and years. It wouldn't surprise me if people were reproducing this.
Okay.
So let me call up a friend, let me get him down here. This guy will know, just plain and simple. So hang out, and I'm gonna go get a hold of him. All right, I'll be right back.
All right, thank you. I do hope that whoever he calls in is very helpful confirming that it's real, so I can get some bonus points with my wife.
So you brought this in?
I did.
Ah, where did you get it?
At a garage sale of all places.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. When you look at elections in the 1860s, we have to remember that we didn't have television, we didn't have radio, so posters like this were important to sort of set out an image. The Grand National Union banner for 1864. Very nice. But they used this poster for probably 20 years. The same flags, the same eagle, the same having two portraits. Can you imagine today, the next election, they just use the exact same posters as, you know, Romney and Obama and just change faces on it? Yeah, I don't think so. So what are your concerns on this?
The colors are terrible, and I don't know if that's just faded from the sun or something, or it's just a fake.
Okay, you're right, the colors are terrible. This was in the light for quite a while. There's a lot of breaks in these letters. They're not full letters, and they normally would be on a poster like this. But what's interesting on this one is that on the other originals, they are also broken like that. So obviously there was some buildup in those engravings, or they weren't as deep as they should have been, but this is all correct. I think this is an original 1864 Currier and Ives campaign poster.
Wow.
For Lincoln and Johnson. To find it in a garage sale, and that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, man.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good to see you. Thanks
too.
a lot.
Thanks.
I'm amazed. I mean, I never go to garage sales like that. That is one of those finds that is a lifetime find.
In pristine shape, this is worth like $9,000.
Wow.
Okay?
Okay.
We are like a far cry from that. And in this shape, I will give you $500. I mean, it's not.
It is pretty unique, though, right?
I'm not, you know, I'm not taking that away from you.
Right.
It was unique.
Can we do a little bit more than 500? Maybe 650?
I'll give you $600 for it.
All right, that's yours.
Okay. All right, man.
Thanks.
All right, meet me right up front.
Okay.
Okay.
I am so glad everything on this poster checked out. There's always a market for Lincoln stuff, and this one, I'm gonna have no problem selling.
How can I help you today?
Well, what I have here is a piece of marble.
Okay.
I believe came from Abraham Lincoln's tomb.
Abraham Lincoln's tomb, the president.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
No.
You steal it, or?
No. I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my marble from Lincoln's tomb. Basically trying to sell it so I can make a lot of money off of it. I don't know how much it's worth, so I'm hoping I'll get a few $1,000s out of it.
Okay, you have a piece of marble from Lincoln's tomb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's definitely marble. So where did you get it?
So basically my mom, she was working in an estate sale. The lady that ran it told my mom, she says, you can keep it.
He's arguably the greatest president we've ever had. And he was the first president ever to be assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really weird history with Lincoln's body. A whole book could be written about it.
Lincoln's assassination in 1865 had a long-lasting effect on this country. And I wish I could say Honest Abe's troubles were over. But at one point, there was an attempt to steal his body.
I have no idea what this writing on the back of it is. Interior paneling of Lincoln's tomb, presented to Guy Allison by Mr. Frey Custodian. And you have no paperwork, no nothing, you just have...
Just basically what's written on the marble.
Oh, that's a tough one.
If the writing on this marble is correct, it is an unbelievable piece of history. And I've never even heard of one ever coming on the market.
So what do you want to do with it?
Thinking of selling it.
Okay. Do you mind if I call up a buddy, have him come down and take a look at it?
Okay.
Anything from Lincoln is collectible. And a marble piece from his tomb? Let's just say this is something that would get people in the door and get them talking.
The guys call me in when they come up with an interesting historical artifact that they're not quite sure about.
We have supposedly a piece of marble from Lincoln's tomb.
Okay. The Lincoln Monument in Springfield was built in the 1870s. The problem with the monument was they built it in a very nice, prominent location. It's just that there's a bunch of springs there, and the ground was sinking underneath it. They were afraid it was going to actually fall down. In 1930-31, the state of Illinois rebuilt the entire monument and rebuilt the marble interior. If this is a real piece of the marble from Lincoln's monument, this is part of our history. It's a point at which you can connect with Abraham Lincoln. So, Rick, what are your concerns about this?
How do I know that one's from Lincoln's tomb and someone just didn't write that on the piece of marble?
The fact that this is a more yellowish marble, this is right. The interesting things to me is the fact that it was given to Guy Allison. Guy Allison wrote a book about the Gettysburg Address. He must have been doing research. Fay was the custodian of the Lincoln Monument. The date is correct. He was still there in September of 1948. If somebody was faking this, they would have had to work on it to get these little details correct.
Realistically, I mean, who would make this up? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
highly unlikely. So, my opinion is, yes, this is real.
Okay, thanks.
Not a problem.
So what do you want for it?
I was thinking maybe 25,000.
No, that's insanity right there. You know,
It is. I mean, it's a crazy price. I mean,
it's a piece of marble from his tomb.
Mm-hmm.
It's not his top hat.
No.
Okay. You know, I mean, I would give you like $1,000 for it.
No.
Okay, it's not something that Lincoln used on a daily basis or touched or dealt with or anything like that, and it's not going to be a quick sell. Yeah, $1,000 would be it.
Oh, okay, I guess I'll just hang on to it then.
Thanks for coming in, though.
It kills me to let this thing go, but there's no way I can pay 25 grand for it. But it didn't look like she was gonna move off her price.
Hi there.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good, thank you.
What do we got here?
I have an autograph book from the 1800s.
Autograph book from the 1800s?
Yes.
All right. I don't have a pen on me right now.
I'm here at the pawn shop to sell my 1800s autograph book. This book is full of autographs from well-known poets as well as some presidents. The condition of this autograph book is very fragile. It's over 170 years old. I'm hoping to sell this autograph book for $20,000. If I make a sale today, I plan on investing in my sailboat.
It looks pretty amazing. Do you mind if I take a look?
Oh, please.
Where did you get it?
It was handed down to me from my great-great-great-great-grandmother. She lived up in the New England states, and she would have parlor readings at her house. And it was more or less like a book signing you would have today, but they would come to the parlor and read excerpts out of their books.
Okay. It was right around 1850s, 1860s, autograph collecting became a really, really big thing. Started in England, ended up coming over to the United States, and if you live in New York City or DC, people would carry around their autograph book with them just in case they ran into somebody. And still to this day, people collect autographs. So who's all in the book?
I have Edgar Allan Poe's autograph, Victor Hugo's. I have President Rutherford Hayes, just to name a few.
Okay, Abraham Lincoln. This is cool. I mean, because this is November 19th, 1863.
Yes.
That's the day he read the Gettysburg Address.
Yes.
Have you ever had it checked out by anybody? I mean, especially the Abraham Lincoln one. That's the big one.
That's the big one. Yes, I understand. I've never had it checked out.
Okay. So how much do you want for him?
I'm looking to get $20,000 out of it.
All right. I mean, that might be possible. I mean, this was actually signed and dated by Abraham Lincoln. All the money's there. That's the big money. I mean, I just need someone to look at it.
Okay.
Not that I don't trust you. I just don't trust your grandma.
I didn't know her either, so yeah.
Let me get my autograph guy down here, and if it checks out, you'll probably get paid.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right, thanks.
Now, I trust my grandma, but my great-great-great-grandma, not so much. Steve, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Rick? How you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Nice to see you.
This is what I called you about. It's got some big signatures on it. Edgar Allan Poe.
Nice.
And Abraham Lincoln.
In the same autograph book?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't really see that too often.
It's from his great-great-great-grandma, so we don't know how legit she was.
So some of the names you mentioned, Edgar Allan Poe, I really don't see too many of, just occasionally see his autograph. Abraham Lincoln, you really see him more on documents or letters.
It looks a little suspect because there's November 19th, 1863, the day he read the Gettysburg Address.
That's a big deal. It's one of the most important days in U.S. history. Just imagine what something like that would be worth. You could be looking just at $200,000 alone just for that page.
Wow, wow.
So let's have a look. Let's see what's in here, Rick. I'm gonna take a look with the pro scope and get some magnification on here. This is Lord Tennyson. Okay. Do you mind flipping for me?
Edgar Allan Poe?
It's a big one, Rick. That's pretty interesting. Do me a favor, Rick. Show me the Lincoln, please. That's the meaty one. Obviously, Poe is as well. So this is pretty interesting, guys. Let's start to magnify this.
Yeah.
Okay, you see this here? You don't see this with ink. It's a skip on there. Now, do me a favor, go back a few. And almost the same kind of exact type of thing you're seeing. What this leads me to believe is that obviously it's unique and cool and really neat looking, but these are just copies.
Oh, jeez.
It doesn't have the characteristics made with a fountain pen or a quill or something from the period. This was a book that was manufactured with famous people from the period. Great collectible, maybe something to talk about with your family history, but really doesn't have much value.
I understand. Yeah.
Sure.
Well, there goes like $200,000 down the drain.
All right, thanks, Steve.
All right, take care. Nice to see you.
Yeah,
Good
nice
luck.
seeing you too. Thank you very much.
All right, well, I'm sorry. I thought we might have something there.
I did too.
But usually when it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
I understand. Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
All right, thanks.
If you hold on to my autograph for a few years, it might be worth $2.
Earlier, I got a call from a guy who says he's got a playbill from the night Lincoln was assassinated. Wanted to know if I'd be interested in purchasing it? I told him, hell yeah.
When I bought this Playbill, it was actually $500 I paid for it. And I got home and I did some more research on it, and come to find out it was worth $10,000. And this is like the real deal from the night John Wilkes Booth shot President Lincoln.
So where did you get this thing?
Came across this at an antique shop.
And do you know anything about it?
Well, I know I won the lottery because when I got back home, did some research on it. They're appraising this up to $10,000.
How much did you pay for it?
Well, I paid $500 for it.
When you're dealing with something related to a major historical event of this caliber, you're talking money, serious money. So you want to pawn it or sell it?
I'd like to sell it. I'd like to get $5,000 for it.
Yeah, it could be worth up to that amount. Well, you have to look at it here for a second to see if it's real.
All right.
All right. April 14th, 1865. That's the night he was assassinated.
All right.
Ford's Theater. That was the correct theater. Our American Cousin. That was the play that was being performed that night.
Okay.
And yes, President Lincoln was there. But on the playbill that night, they never had President Lincoln across it. They didn't know President Lincoln was going to be there for sure, and they weren't going to print it on the playbill. Because at this particular time, the Secret Service knew of people trying to assassinate him. This is a fake.
But they said it was real.
Not only is it a reproduction, it's a very bad reproduction. I thought this guy was going to bring us one of the most important historical artifacts this store had ever seen. Instead, he brought me a piece of junk. A good reproduction would be the original playbill. It wouldn't be the original playbill with stuff added.
It's a shame that it's not real. I kind of got my hopes up. I thought it was going to be worth a lot of money.
Thanks for bringing it in. Sorry about the bad news.
Oh, well, it is what it is.
I'm extremely disappointed. I thought this was going to be a slam dunk. What it turned out to be was just a complete waste of my time. This is really turning out to be a bad day.
What do we have here?
Well, what I have here is a Civil War broadside from 1861 that proclaims a National Day of Humiliation by Abraham Lincoln. A pole hanger.
Huh?
A pole hanger, as they used to call them.
Okay.
Came to the pawn shop today to possibly sell an Abraham Lincoln broadside from the Civil War dated 1861. This is early in the war, which makes it quite scarce. And the fact that it survived is remarkable in itself. Well, I'm asking $3,000 for it. So I think about $2,000 would probably be the least I'd take for it.
Okay, this is interesting. There's a really famous broadside that's worth a fortune offering a reward for John Wilkes Booth. Where did you get this?
Well, this ultimately came from a gentleman in Asheville, North Carolina. His mother grew up in Hamilton County. She had had it in her family for many years.
It's amazing that it survived all this time. And we got, see, a National Day of Humiliation at Middletown, Ohio, September 26, 1861, Union meeting at the Presbyterian Church. The Day of Humiliation is more or less a day of remembrance, basically a national prayer day.
It was. Lincoln was very biblically literate.
Exactly. The whole country was going insane at the moment. Suddenly we were in a war. At the time, it seemed the South was a lot more organized than the North, and it really wasn't looking that good. When the North lost the first Battle of Bull Run, it was a wake-up call that this was not going to be an easy war. And a couple months later, Lincoln proclaimed a day of humiliation to pray for peace. It's in relatively good shape, almost too good of shape, because they were glued to a wall or something like that. So to get them off the wall, you had to scrape them off, and they were always ruined. So what do you want to do with it?
Well, I think I want to sell it.
Okay. How much do you want for it?
I want $3,000 for it.
Okay. I don't know if it's that rare. And there's something on it that screams fake, because it says 1861 on it. Why would they even bother to put the year? Because this was probably booked a few weeks in advance. I want someone to look at it just to give me an idea what their opinion on it. Hang out for a few minutes. Okay. I'm going to go give them a call.
I think the upside of having an expert come in and taking a look at this piece, it validates my position and my viewpoint on its rarity and scarcity.
I love the fact that it's the National Day of Humiliation, because we don't see that anymore. Lincoln himself did 3 of them. He called this one in 1861, called one in 1863, and another one in 1864. So it was actually a big part of who we were at that time. Abraham Lincoln, he was a very strong believer in a higher power. So he asked the country to come together and pray for, the good of the country. What are your concerns on
Okay,
these?
well, is it real? Because it seems like every fake one I see, the year is there.
The fact that it's in this shape, obviously it was never posted on a wall or a pole. And looking at the way that it's printed, and especially the foxing and the kind of wear patterns it has, that all looks absolutely correct for this kind of a time period. But in terms of its collectability, if you had the original proclamation that Lincoln did, I think it would be much more collectible.
All right. It's definitely food for thought. You're the best, man.
Not a problem.
Thank you, sir.
Very good to meet you.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you. This is a really nice broadside, very typical of the time period. It's nice when you see one of these because very few of them survive.
Okay, well, I got some insight anyway.
Okay.
I mean, this is my problem. There's definitely very little supply, but I think there's very little demand.
Abraham Lincoln, though, always has a market.
Well, the whole thing is, it's a stretch to completely tie it to Lincoln. He did call for the day, but he also said Merry Christmas, and there's a lot of Christmas stuff from 1861.
But he did trust in God, and I think that's what really what defines this piece more than anything.
I don't think it's for me.
Okay. Well,
I'm
thank
sorry.
you, sir. I appreciate you. Thank
Hey,
you
thanks
so
for coming
much.
in, though, man.
Thank you. I'm probably going to keep this piece a little longer and probably display it, but the fact that we had an expert come in and validate it meant everything about it.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
What is this?
This is an original 1860 Abraham Lincoln life mask that was taken by Leonard Volk, a very famous artist at the time.
This is a life mask, not a death mask.
This is a life mask.
Do you know what the difference between a life mask and a death mask?
Yeah. One of them's done while you're dead.
He's right. I'm coming into the pawn shop today to sell a Lincoln life mask by Leonard Volk. I've had this life mask for, since about 1974. The life mask, to me, represents Abraham Lincoln the way he actually looked in 1860.
It's really neat because this is sort of a thing sort of lost to history. This used to be a really common thing to get a life mask if you were like a politician or maybe from a well-off family or something like that.
So in the mid-1800s, Leonard Volk made a life mask of Lincoln. And from that mask, he originally made a limited number of castings.
Yes.
Life masks are really cool because
You also got some really neat details that an artist might not necessarily have gotten, such as one of the cheekbones is higher, things like that. So this was a life mask taken of Lincoln in 1860.
Yes, it was right after he was elected.
This isn't an original of that life mask.
This is a Volk casting, yes. They were cast in 1860, I think 5 of them.
Did you get any paperwork when you bought this, or an auction catalog, or anything like that?
Nothing.
an original Lincoln cast made by Leonard Volk is extremely collectible, and most of them are in museums.
And you want to sell these?
Yes, I do.
I mean, how much you want for this stuff?
$2,000.
It bothers me that you don't have any paperwork on it. I'm just going to pass on it.
Okay.
You know, normally I'd love to buy it. You know, I don't know enough about it, and we have no documentation or anything else like that. Thanks for bringing this stuff in, though, man. Appreciate it.
They decided that they didn't want to purchase them. We're going to take them back home.